verbal or life.
So, what's up with the Epstein client list? You know, first they said that he committed suicide. Nobody tried to kill him. And now they're talking about there is no client list. Like, I feel like we voted for Trump because he was going to be the guy, the non-politician that was going to unveil all the information that the government had. I mean, is Elon Musk right? Is Trump on the list? Because now everybody got conspiracy theory. In this episode, let's take a look at Jesse Watters Primetime and let you guys know what's going on with this Epstein client list. Because all the information they got, and you're telling me they don't have a single criminal on there? Like, are they really that powerful that they're making sure the government doesn't go after them? This is crazy. By the way, my name is Noel here at Verbal on Life. Let's take a look at this video of Jesse Watters Primetime and give this video a thumbs up. You know, motivate me to do more videos and we can get the word out. But that Jeffrey Epstein client list, I was so looking forward to looking at that to see who are the powerful, who are the criminals that are doing everything on the low. It was only fair for us to find out. All right, let's take a look at Jesse Watters Primetime.
This is a Fox News alert. The FBI has just launched criminal investigations into two former Obama officials, former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey, for their involvement in the Russia hoax. Sources say Director Brennan is under investigation for lying to Congress, and that Brennan and Comey were involved in a conspiracy. Brennan apparently told Congress that he didn't have anything to do with the Steele dossier. But we're hearing that Brennan's two top CIA officers warned the director not to touch it and called it an internet rumor. But Brennan pushed it hard anyway.
But you see, this is what we want to see from Trump's administration. Going down on these politicians, these officials that were breaking the law. They need to be investigated. They go hard when it comes to investigating regular people. So now let's flip it. Let's investigate them. This is what Trump was sent into office to do, aside from all the other things that he does. But this is a big part. Man, this is great.
Both Obama's FBI director and CIA director basically knew the Trump-Russia hoax came from Hillary Clinton's campaign, but they both used it to smear and investigate Donald Trump. Comey and Brennan's security clearances have both been stripped by the sitting president, and Comey just had a sit-down with the Secret Service over Seychelles. This is the beginning of a major confrontation. New York Post columnist Miranda Devine joins me now. Miranda, what do you...
Like, this is great. Trump investigating top officials, something that nobody else could have done. And most politicians, they don't investigate themselves or they don't investigate people who are at the top. Now we have a businessman, Donald Trump, going in and making sure that it gets done. Come on now, let's see what she got to say.
Know about this investigation?
Well, it's probably a criminal perjury investigation, and it does stem from that new review that the CIA issued last week, or declassified last week, into the origins of the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. This was something that was directed by President Obama after the 2016 election, when President Trump had been elected, but a few weeks before Obama was due to leave office. So this was in December. And he got basically John Brennan, Director Comey, and James Clapper to cook up this sort of bogus investigation, which became known as the Intelligence Community Assessment, even though 13 of the 17 intelligence agencies at that time were not involved, even though the National Intelligence Council was sidelined by John Brennan. John Brennan took over this. handpicked the analysts and rushed them and forced the inclusion of the discredited Steele dossier, which, of course...
Like, I want to see penalties. Look at everything that he did. Like, ruining his name is one thing, like making him out in the public news. But what about some jail time for this? Like, everything he's done or what she's saying just sounds criminal. So come on now. Somebody breaking the law needs to pay for it. Sorry to say that, but what he did sounds crazy. I mean, comment down below if you agree here.
The CIA and the FBI knew was discredited, was completely made up by that stage. But Brennan insisted that it was included, not just as an appendix, but in the main body. And that was over the written objections of the most senior CIA Russian analysts and experts. And in fact, what was revealed in that CIA declassified review last week was an email from John Brennan overriding their objections and saying, no, put it in. And yet John Brennan, we know in testimony, he has said, oh, no, I didn't even know it was in. I wouldn't have put it in. No, I never pushed for its inclusion. Now, we don't know what he told the Durham report. A lot of his testimony is sort of gone past the statute of limitations, which is 5 years. But the Durham report, the Durham inquiry, he gave closed-door testimony to. I'm not sure what he said, but presumably he lied again, and in that case, under oath. Then he also was called into the Coma impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden for his role in that 51 former intelligence officials' dirty 51 letter lying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. So my presumption is that this is a perjury, and I have a bit of evidence for that this is going to be a perjury investigation based on that email, and there's probably other emails from John Brennan, which he's contradicted on television and in public testimony, but probably also behind closed doors in testimony that's not ruled out by the 5-year statute of limitations.
All right, well, this will be very interesting to follow. Miranda Devine, thank you so much. Great reporting. Democrats say there needs to be bloodshed to get attention. So now they're building underground labs and putting their foot soldiers through boot camp.
I've started something called Resistance Lab. It's a training on really the documented, most effective ways to counter Democratic backsliding, nonviolent resistance tactics to build that movement.
A couple of months ago, Mad Maxine Watters, no relation, said Republicans were training up in the hills, but it's Democrats who are working out in labs. Dozed USAID staff are building a network and plotting rebellions and nationwide strikes. Reports say they've been passing out old CIA pamphlets titled Simple Sabotage. The strategy is to...
So, like, why are they waiting to do something about this? Why don't they get ahead of this and take those people down before they act up? I mean, if you're talking about going to a certain area, well, then send the cops over there. And let's take a look to see what the hell they're doing. Like, why do we have to wait for violence or somebody getting hurt before saying, oh, man, we got to stop them? So they got this information. Let's get started.
Harass and demoralize the enemy. Primetime went inside one of these resistance labs, and General Jayapal is whipping her army into shape.
Governments and institutions together do not save people from dictators. The thing that saves people from dictators is the people. It is large-scale mass movement.
And it's crazy. Like, look at her. These people at the top, I try to talk to the regular, teenagers or 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds to go ahead and put themselves out there, right? Why don't they do it? Like, that's crazy. They're putting the regular people at the bottom to go ahead and just go all in, get themselves arrested or hurt.
Of people, if you have the moral high ground and you act with dignity, then anger is incredibly compelling and people will join you.
We're getting reports that the Abrams tank is flanking in from the south.
You send the U.S. Marines into spaces they should not be. You send the National Guard in. You kidnap people off of the streets and pretend that's normal, because that's how.
I hate it when they say that, kidnap people. How about removing illegals who shouldn't even be in the country, who shouldn't even be in the streets? But look how they phrase it, man. It's all about the narrative. That's all the left got, the narrative. They are kidnapping regular moms and dads and kids. No.
You quiet dissent, because you make everyone afraid that if they don't do what you want, they might be next. And once you've done those 9 steps, steps 10 is easy. That's when you decide there won't be new elections, because everyone's either afraid, poor, broken, or complicit.
Stacey says Trump deporting bad hombres means we're never going to have another election. Democrats are acting like it's do or die, and they're on a warpath. A Democrat running for city council in San Antonio just took out a hit. Quote, I want to see a few dead ICE agents in Los Angeles. Don't.
How illegal is this? You know, just stating that. Shouldn't that get cops to go talk to that person? Like, what are you talking about, dead ICE agent? These are federal employees. It's crazy.
Let me down. Radicals are already answering his call. A New York man was just arrested for threatening to murder an ICE agent and his kids. After an ICE sting in Virginia, he says this, I can't wait to put a bullet into this guy's brain. But first, his children. 43-year-old Matthew White also posted things like, kill them all. ICE is the new age Gestapo.
You know, now with social media, people are just putting their thoughts out there, their maniac thoughts of killing and doing harm. Just like a bunch of like gangsters putting their videos on YouTube. Like, how crazy is this? If anything happens, it's right there. You posted it on social media. What are we talking about? This is like a sure way of getting arrested.
Stop them. And told Homan, if your ICE agents don't show proof of identity and a signed warrant, we will kill them. Over 24 hours ago, a gunman opened fire on a Border Patrol facility in Texas. The Justice Department calls it an organized tactical ambush. And
like, politicians got to take responsibility for this. They're the one talking shit about this is what we got to do. We got to stop them. We got to stop these employees, the ICE agents. So somebody got to put them accountable. The only other politician can do that. Because how the hell do you sue somebody in office, you know?
Bundy's crew just hit these wannabe assassins hard.
Today, my office has charged 10 individuals with 3 counts of attempted murder of a federal officer. It was a planned ambush with the intent to kill ICE corrections officers. Make no mistake, this was not a so-called peaceful protest.
Like, it starts at the top. They need to say that more often. The craziness starts at the top. If you see politicians and people you respect talking crazy about taking down ICE agents, then you're going to get your 1 or 2 maniacs like this guy trying to pull it off. Insane. I mean, that's just common sense to me.
It was indeed an ambush.
We have the mugshots. Look at that. Big surprise. 2 of them are trans. One of them, a dude named Cameron, wants to be called Autumn Hill. Okay, Autumn. Miss Autumn.
A trans, do you know that's a maniac who already got psychologically tricked into thinking they're a girl? To me, anybody who thinks they're something else, not what they really are, not the facts, like that's a grown-ass man. Somebody needs to kick his ass.
Pulled up with her gang draped in black military-style clothing and fired off dozens of rounds. One of them was across the street and fired up to 30 rounds at officers outside the facility.
Like, looking at that picture, I can see what? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I see 5 women and a bunch of dudes. How many dudes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. So there are more girls than boys there. It looks tricky because that second one looks like a girl, and then the third one, the fourth one, 1, 2, and then the bottom 3. No, the bottom 2, 4, 5, and then the next one 6. So yes, more girls than boys.
Facility. And they had fight ICE terror with class war and free all political prisoners spray painted on their flyers. Oh, and fight oligarchy and ICE pigs were spray painted on cars. And that's not all. In California today, ICE agents tried to booby trap a Border Patrol vehicle and blow out its tires. No one got hurt, but 4 people were arrested. Holman says it's only a matter of time.
I said over 2 months ago, if the rhetoric continues against ICE agents and Border Patrol agents about being compared to terrorists, like Congressman J. Paul did, being compared to Nazis and racists, that it's going to end with the use of force, that either a criminal is going to die or an officer is going to die. I've seen this recipe before. I knew it was coming, and I don't think it's over.
Assaults on ICE agents are already up 700%. And Democrats want it to get even worse. Remember the senator who lunged at Kristi Noem? He's proposing a bill that would unmask ICE agents. They want masks banned and officers to show ID before they bust a bad guy. Not show ID to vote. You have to show ID to arrest MS-13. And it's the first time they've ever wanted to ban masks. Mayors in blue cities say they're leaving ICE in the dust.
This administration, the Trump administration, has caused so much consternation and division. Look, we are a welcoming city ordinance.
See, that's a government employee. You're supposed to be siding with the federal government. You're supposed to be a team working against criminals. That's it. You broke into this country illegally. You are a criminal. And look at this guy fighting to protect the criminals. Crazy.
Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE.
Democrats claim they want to deport the worst first, but their sanctuary cities won't cooperate with ICE. So as Biden would say, it's just malarkey. Karen Bass yesterday told ICE to beat it. The Border Patrol chief said, no bueno.
Like, they got to be arrested. Somebody got to punish these people. Like, they don't live in these communities where the illegal aliens are. They're not in a threat, so they don't see it as a problem. I wonder who, you know what? They got to be getting paid off. I wonder who's paying them off.
The federal government is not leaving LA. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now, because this is going to be normal very soon.
Karen's fighting ICE harder than she fights fires.
I'm not going to get used to it, because last I checked, I was elected to be mayor of the city. That did not include a federal takeover. So either you believe in democracy or you don't.
Who's going to tell Karen that the federal government trumps the mayor? Bass and every liberal mayor can tie themselves to the train tracks, but it's not stopping Homan. He's got a sweet tooth for deportations, and there isn't anywhere he won't go.
We're going to double down and triple down on sanctuary cities. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail, then we'll go to community and we'll find him. Or we'll do more worksite enforcement. We'll find him at the worksite. And when we do these things and we ramp up that enforcement, we're going to find others who aren't a criminal.
And now they're going to be definitely able to do it with all the money they got coming from the administration, with the big, beautiful bill that has billions for border agents.
But they're in the country illegally, we're going to arrest them too. So what you're going to get, sanctuary cities, is exactly what you don't want. More agents in your communities and more collateral arrests.
Yeah.
Migrant gangs are going buck wild in inner cities, and Democrats want them to lay down roots. Not even Mexico wants these guys. Over the weekend, they rioted in Mexico City over open borders. Even Mexicans are telling illegals to get out. Is it racist when Mexicans want to ICE illegals? The New York Times is even admitting we have a migrant gang problem. After calling the Venezuelan gangs who took over Aurora, Colorado, a false story, now the Times is saying Democrats denied this city had a gang problem, but the truth is complicated. Democrats are dying alone on this hill. They're building resistance labs, shooting at ICE agents, and deep staters are using CIA tactics to sabotage Trump. Who else knows what's up their sleeves? They've rioted, firebombed cars, and shot Trump in the head. The Daily Caller reports USAID sent thousands of viruses to a biolab in Wuhan, linked to the Chinese military. And they did it for 10 years. If the labs or viruses don't work, there's always voodoo dolls.
Crazy. What the hell are they doing?
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. All right, Caroline, you guys are fighting a war on a couple fronts. You got Trantifa, you got deep state people trying to sabotage you, and you got ICE gangs still roaming around. How dangerous is it?
Well, the Democrat Party has become completely deranged and dangerous, Jesse, and they have totally lost their minds. Look at what they are fighting for, putting illegal aliens over hardworking American citizens, keeping men in women's sports, or as President Trump so bluntly says, they want transgender for everybody. And
you know, these are great messages to send out the next political campaign, how the Democrats are losing their minds. So just putting the words out there. Yeah, look at everything that they want. Illegals on the streets, transgender athletes. Like in the 80-20 side of things, they're always on the 20 side, just losing.
these are incredibly unpopular positions. Clearly, the Democrats learned nothing on November 5th when the American public overwhelmingly voted for common sense. And that's the fight this White House is bringing for every community, for every law-abiding, common sense, tax-paying American across the country, keeping men out of women's sports, deporting illegal criminals from our country. And in your monologue, Jesse, I can't believe I heard stupid Stacey Abrams say that deportations kill democracy.
That was crazy. She called her stupid. Man, this is like the best press secretary. Not scared to call politicians stupid to their face. Man, and reporters. It's too funny.
Newsflash, Stacey, wide open borders kills democracy. And that's what the American people voted against. The American public witnessed an open border, illegal alien invasion for 4 years. And they said enough is enough. The vast majority of this country supports deporting illegal criminals from our communities.
Yep.
This administration is all hands on deck in doing that, despite pushback from these radical Democrats at the state and local level. ICE and Border Patrol are doing the work that they swore an oath to do, to remove public safety threats from our communities, to protect our nation, our homeland, and our citizens. And they face now a 700% increase in violence from radical left lunatics. And we're not going to tolerate that.
At the end of the day, man, the order and peace that officers bring to this country is part of the reason why this country is great. And we need more of them. You know, all these other gangsters, crazy people, we got to get them out of the way, man, and just be honest. People just don't say that on television, on mainstream media. But let's keep listening, man. She's dropping bombs. Let them know what we want and what the voters want.
Anyone who threatens or who partakes in violence against our brave law enforcement officers against this in this country is going to face the fullest extent of justice from our great Attorney General, Pam Bondi.
And it might have to be the people who incite the people to commit violence against the ICE agents, because there's obviously something to that. We just heard, Caroline, I don't know if you saw the top of the show, it looks like there has been an investigation opened up into James Comey and John Brennan, possibly lying to Congress in a conspiracy over the Russia hoax. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I just heard that news at the top of your show, and I'm glad to hear it, because both of these disgraceful individuals turned against our Constitution and our country. And I'm sure they did, in fact, lie to Congress. And it's up to the Department of Justice to investigate that and to prosecute them if they did. And what we have seen is corruption at the highest levels against President Trump. The deep state threw everything at him to prevent him from coming back to this big, beautiful White House behind me. And he prevailed, and the truth must come out. And this administration is totally committed to transparency and to justice and to accountability. And we must have a rule of law in this country. We can't be a nation without law and order. That's what the president believes in. And I'm glad to see the Department of Justice is opening up this investigation.
All right. Caroline Leavitt, great work. Thank you so much, as always.
So many people hate her because she is not afraid and she speaks facts. Like the last press secretary, I think she's probably a good person, but she was bad because she had to cover up for a weak president who was mentally not there. So the whole time she had to figure out what to say and always lying. But you got this girl and you got President Trump who are not scared to talk in front of a camera, who are not scared to take questions. All right. They are good for anything that the press got to say. So shout out to her, the press secretary. Awesome. And now hold the people accountable. Let's see what Trump got to say, because people got to be held accountable. Let's be honest. And us, the voters, is part of the reason why we sent Trump there, to hold people accountable. All right, let's take a look. Let me go past the commercials and fast forward a little bit.
The cabinet room, it's been here.
Oh, and by the way, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. All right, let's try to get it to more and more people. That's all I really want. Thumbs up.
For a long time. And it had some pictures that were not many of them and not very good ones. And I actually spent time in the vaults. The vaults are where we have a lot of great pictures and artwork. And I picked it all myself. I'm not very proud of it. That's Andrew Jackson, great Andrew Jackson. Over there is Honest Abe Lincoln. And that picture was in his bedroom. I love the frame of those pictures. Look at those frames. You know, I'm a frame person. Sometimes I like frames more than I like the pictures.
Trump takes interior design very seriously. If he sees something he wants, he takes it.
As president, you have the power. If I go into the State Department or Department of Commerce or Treasury, if I see anything that I like, I'm allowed to take it. Do you believe this? So I'm in Marco's. I see this gorgeous clock, grandfather clock, and there it is. I said, Marco. I didn't know about it. I had to read him the rule and regulation. I said, Marco, I love this clock. I tried to talk him into it first, and it sort of worked, and then I had to use a little more. I said, I'd love to take that clock out and put it in the cabinet room. He said, no, are you serious? I said, Marco, I have the right to do it, Marco. And he said, all right, what the hell?
Now, a judge tried to block Trump from taking Marco's clock, but the Supreme Court overruled. After Trump cleaned his clock, the cabinet got back down to business. It was a bad day to be a panicking.
We will have taken in about $100 billion in tariff income thus far this year, and that's with the tariff, the major tariff not having started till the second quarter.
They don't talk about that in the news enough. Did he just say 100 billion this year from tariffs? Man, probably not enough, but I think all these businessmen, business people are doing a way better job than politicians when it comes to the economy.
So we could expect that could be well over $300 billion by the end of the year.
Today's meeting lasted over an hour and 45 minutes. That's longer than all 9 of Biden's public cabinet meetings combined. That's how he gets this much done in 6 months. If it has nothing to do with peace or money, 47 doesn't.
I think a lot of people find this weird because it's not normal for politicians to be talking so much in front of camera to the people, to their constituents. This is like super rare. So everybody's looking at what Trump is doing like, whoa, why is he moving so fast? Why is he doing so much? Maybe this should be the norm. This should be normal. So next president that comes around, if he's only having like one meeting a month, or you're only hearing from him every 2 months, then we could start questioning like, why are you not like Trump? So the norm that Trump is setting up, love it.
Don't want to hear about it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems.
You got a point, but the Epstein bomb being dropped at this point, you can't let it go.
Like a desecration.
Well, that was interesting. The president is casting himself as a global deal maker turned peacemaker. He's ending conflicts like a marriage counselor. India, Pakistan, Congo, Rwanda, Israel, Gaza, Israel, Iran. And now he's being nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing peace to the Middle East. That leaves one big, not so beautiful war, Russia-Ukraine.
We get a lot of thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Do you want to Lindsey Graham has a sanctions bill on Russia. Do you want him to move?
I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, I'm looking. The Senate is passing and passed a very, very tough sanctions. But yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, if Putin's dragging Trump along and we're still sending defensive weapons to Ukraine.
Like, Trump is so honest with exactly what's happening with him and Putin and what he's thinking of doing. Like, this is all weird. We're not used to this. And not afraid to put up threats on television, because I'm pretty sure the Russians are hearing all of this, that they might get sanctioned. So this is crazy. This man is not scared.
We're back at square one. Trump has to try something new. He doesn't like being strung along. Just ask the Ayatollah.
Those machines flew for 37 straight hours. They didn't stop. They went skedaddle. You know the word skedaddle? It means skedaddle. They dropped the bombs and somebody said, skedaddle. Let's get the hell out of here.
Valuetainment founder Patrick Bet-David is here. All right, PBD, what did you think when Trump said, nah, Epstein's old news?
You talking about Epstein?
Yeah.
I think good to be back on with you, buddy. But this is what I would tell you.
And by the way, I think he's doing that to try to change the narrative, change the conversation, so we don't talk about it anymore. He knows that his administration dropped a bomb by saying that, yes, he committed suicide, and yes, there's no client list. So that's one way of changing the narrative. And give it up to Trump. If it worked for him before, it might work for him this time.
Tell you, the number one trending hashtag right now on X is Epstein. 2 million people have tweeted with the topic of Epstein. Number two is Nicki Minaj at 100,000. Comey's at 42,500. There is a reason why people are asking about this. This is by far, and I'm a supporter. 3 times I voted for this man. This is by far the biggest fumble of the administration they've had thus far. And here's the reason why. If you remember the president winning, he had a conversation with Fox News, the great Rachel Campos Duffy, and she asked, Mr. President, 9/11, yes. John F. Kennedy, yes. Epstein, he didn't say yes. He was a little bit hesitant of bringing that information out. Why? So why does his leadership team go out there and are like, we have this information and we're going to release this and cash? And let me tell you what we have with Pam Bondi out of the state of Florida. She knew everything about Bondi, about Epstein. Why are you fumbling this? Why are you not having an emergency meeting together to conversate and say, hey, we're going to be on the same page with messaging on this. All you have to do is send a message to everybody, say, God, let's have a conference call. Here's what we're going to be saying about this, because this was a very important issue to not 80% of the voters that voted for President Trump, but I think 20% of the voters wanted to know what's going to happen with Epstein, and it's a big letdown. I totally get the big victories. Tariff, $300 billion valuation this year of how much money is going to come from tariffs. Last year, the government only got 80 billion or so. That's like a company increasing their valuation by 4x. Massive victory. The stuff that's going on with, different areas we're winning. What happened with, Iran, the back and forth, the conversations. I think this was the biggest fumble when it came down to Epstein. And the more they answer like that, the more attention you're going to draw to. People are going to ask, why are they so nervous about this? What do you know that the rest of...
Yeah, this is the biggest upset of the Trump administration so far. I mean, he's doing the job for 6 months now. Well, this second administration for 6 months. And yeah, they finally dropped the ball, and it was on the Epstein. So it's really depressing. People want to see more, and now conspiracy theories galore. Everybody going to have now their conspiracy theory as to why this is happening. And you even had Elon Musk saying that Trump was probably on the list, and that's why they don't release the list. So conspiracy theories galore. It gives social media content creators a lot of content for them to talk about.
Don't know if it's just the fact that you want to hold people blackmail. Is that the relation between everything? Everyone's read the stories. It's not like we don't know what it is. It's not like the only thing people watch nowadays is Fox. People watch Twitter. People go X. People go CNN. People go ChatGPT. People know what happened with this guy. But my biggest suggestion, let's not have another fumble like the one we just had here because this was the biggest fumble by the administration.
Well, let's get to one of the other hot stories, and I'm not talking about Nicki Minaj, although I am going to check out what's going on with Nicki after this break. We're talking about James Comey and Brennan, two of Obama's top intelligence guys, CIA, FBI, now under investigation, potentially lying to Congress, a conspiracy with regards to the Russia hoax. How does that play out?
And let me say this much personally. I don't think anything's going to happen to these guys. You know, these are politicians who've been doing this for years. So they probably got a bunch of secrets that if anything happens to them, they're going to bring out and try to take other people down. So ultimately, similar to the whole Epstein situation, nothing's going to happen to them. Let's be honest. These are not freshmen. These are seniors who've been doing this for a while. The head of the FBI, CIA, they're not going anywhere, my opinion.
Well, I mean, look, we all know who Comey is. This guy is a very, very dangerous man of what he did to America during the time, going after the president, the amount of things that he did of dividing the country, and then you go put the 86. We already know what his profile is, and then just recently finding out what happened with Diddy, and his daughter was tied to it, and we followed that one. And then Brennan, you know where these guys are at. I love the fact that finally we're getting to the bottom of finding out what happened. A lot of people are interested to see what happened here, their interference, but they're also interested in other issues. Jesse, you do a phenomenal job. You know we love you. The only suggestion I'm making to the administration, I'm not making any friends today. Normally when I come, I give a very positive message. My only suggestion, no more fumbles. You're having the greatest start ever as a president. There's going to be Nobel Prize, but a lot more than that. I believe he has a shot at going down as one of the greatest presidents of all time and competing for some of the top 5 type of lists. But we have to have an emergency meeting and saying collectively, no more fumbles. We got to go.
All right. Yeah, that would be the ultimate fumble. Like I said, taking out these two giants, the head of the CIA and FBI, it will be a fumble. Let's see how long it takes. Because we all know the law moves slowly. So we're in July. Let's see where they're at by September.
All right. We're going to go check in with Nicki Minaj in the break. PBD, good to talk to you as always.
She's waiting for you.
All right. So Joe Biden just had his phone taken away by his top advisors. We'll tell you what happened. Plus a Supreme Court word salad.
Wait, Nicki Minaj? What's going on with Nicki Minaj? I mean, the only thing I know is Cardi B got dumped by that football player she was dating. I mean, the guy's a multi-millionaire and just had enough of Cardi B, a woman with 3 children. I think she reached 30 years old. So, and plus, we're not talking about a wife material. We're talking about a hookup because the way Cardi B carries herself, it is just a little bit sad. A little bit sad. But Nicki Minaj, I didn't know Nicki Minaj was in the news. Let's see what they got. But yeah, I'm skipping over the commercials. By the way, if you enjoyed the video stream, give it a thumbs up. I'm trying to get more people to come and take a look. And the only thing I'm going to say about the last segment is if Trump is able to get back on good grace and take down the FBI or the former FBI director and CIA director, that'll be a big win for him. All right, let's keep watching. Let's take a look.
It's been off the rails ever since Kamala crashed it. Someone finally stepped up to grab the wheel. Gavin Newsom swung through South Carolina, big primary state, to plant the seeds for 28.
Why I think you're all here and why I'm here as well. This notion of fear, this sort of sense of disequilibrium, that things just ain't right. There's been this stacking of stress all of us have gone through, going back through the pandemic, racial unrest, recessions, supply chains, global challenges, wars.
Did he just say disequilibrium and then say ain't and then say a stacking of distress? Why is he talking like that? That's not going to dig you out of the Biden-Harris hole. We thought the leaks were over. Turns out they were just getting started. A new book reveals that Biden's team still keeping the big guy in a bubble. They just took Joe's phone away after they found out he was talking to a reporter. Quote, they blocked the reporter's calls to the former president. 2 days later, a message from Verizon Wireless replaced Biden's voicemail. The number you dialed has been changed, disconnected, or is no longer in service. If it were up to them, Biden would have spent 8 years in the White House bunker. When he stepped on the debate stage, his team had to pop a Xanax, just like Irish Rosie. Biden's aides winced as the president started answering the first question. And after Biden said he beat Medicare, his right-hand man, Ron Klain, said, we're effed. Before Obama backstabbed Biden, he tried to save the ship. Obama visited Biden's senior staff in 23 and told them that their campaign's a mess. Biden's team wasn't very happy with Barack and thought he was arrogant, and a word that rhymes with brick. And we're finding out Kamala was a bigger mess behind the scenes than on camera. When she called Trump to concede, she couldn't figure out how to use the phone. When Vice President Harris reached President Trump to concede, her aides had trouble merging her onto the call. The aides ended up holding two phones together on speaker so they could talk. Turns out Kamala also did an interview that was so bad it never aired. They 86'd it when she brought up the B word.
Hey, they emailed me.
They got an email from the
DNC.
Okay.
And they said, hey, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are really interested in being on your show. I said, that sounds cool.
What happened with Kamala?
Her take was really confusing and weird and not good. And so mutually agreed that.
How are they going to run her for another political office? Either the governor of California is what they're thinking of doing with her, or even running for president again in 2028. Like, it is obvious this is a DEI hire who doesn't belong in politics. So this is good. All of this is coming out.
We shouldn't publish it.
I see.
And I got lucky because I didn't want to be blamed for her losing.
Her take was that bad?
It was really, really bad. It was bacon as a spice. Bacon as a spice.
What does that mean?
Bacon is a spice. So we dodged Kamala, but there's one gift from Biden that keeps on giving. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who just sat down for a little interview with ABC News. And she sounds like Harris in a robe.
I think I'm aware that people are watching. They want to know how I'm going to perform in this job and in this environment. And so I'm doing my best work, as well as I can do, because I want people to see and know that
it's a public office. It's not a private job. Yes, they're going to watch and see every single word that come out of your mouth. Duh.
I can do anything just like anyone else.
Ketanji has one of the most important jobs in the country, deciding cases based on the Constitution. Too bad nobody told her, because she thinks she was put on the court to talk about her feelings.
What I feel that I've been privileged to do is use the writings that I do, the work that I do, to explain my views about the way our government does and should work, the way the court does and should work.
That's how a DEI hire sounds, making no sense. Just talking slowly, putting two words together, putting more than two, but words together that makes no sense.
I think the nice part about being on the court is that you have the opportunity, whether you're in the majority or in the dissent, to express your opinions.
Ketanji expresses her opinions so much, the other 8 justices want her to shut up.
It's funny to me how people focus on how much I talk at oral argument. And I was always this person on the bench. And so it's been a bit of an adjustment, because as a trial court judge, you have your own courtroom. So you can go on as long as you want. And so trying to make sure that my colleagues get to ask some questions has been a challenge for me. But I've been.
She sounds like she's related to Kamala. Like, both come from the same school of thought.
Enjoyed it. I really have.
They haven't. No wonder Ketanji speaks so much. She can't figure out what's going on.
I don't understand how we can do it on this record, but I guess I don't understand that given your argument. I guess I don't really understand it. I guess I don't understand. Am I mischaracterizing? Like, I don't understand where this idea of universal injunctions comes from. And that's the part that I don't understand.
Last week, the court decided a case 8-1. The one dissent, Jackson. Her dissent was so ridiculous that even Sotomayor had to tell her she didn't understand the case. I agree with Justice Jackson. Here, however, the plans themselves are not before this court. Outkick.com host Tommy Lahren. So it's like word salad in a robe. This is really bad.
It's very bad, Jesse. Now, listen, I believe that she may be the worst DEI hire of all time, but we know I have to give Kamala her flowers and her credit, so I won't do that. So I'm going to place her right behind Kamala and right above that Biden nuclear waste guy that was stealing the ladies' luggage, I think on the crappy Mount Rushmore. That's where they stack up. And before those out there on social media start chirping that it's racist to call her a DEI hire, when President Biden says, I'm going to pick a black woman, and then he finds a black woman and picks her, that is the exact definition of picking someone based on a quota or a DEI hire situation. So I'm glad we put that to rest. But in many ways, Jesse, she's worse than Kamala because she has a lifetime appointment, which means she cannot be voted out like Kamala was. She can't go back to California and hang out with Dougie. We're stuck with her. She's going to last longer than some people's marriages. So that means that the Biden era will live with us and will haunt us forever. I don't know if the auto pen did this. She was nominated in February of 2022. I don't know if this can be chalked up to that, but either way, we are in a bit of a pickle. She does want to be on Broadway, though, so perhaps she will pursue that career endeavor. We can only hope.
We call it a DEI hangover, and we just don't know how long.
She's going to be in that job for the rest of her life, period. We are in it for the long haul.
It's going to last. Maybe when Joe Biden nominated her, he really didn't know what he was doing, because at this point, they're taking his phone away. What does it tell you? They're taking the former president's phone away because they don't trust him to be able to talk to a reporter.
But yet, Jesse, they are insisting that they didn't take the auto pen from him, or that he was completely in charge of the auto pen, but he can't even be in charge of his own Verizon. Oh, not looking good for Democrats. They're in a real bind with this one.
All right, Tommy Lahren. You forgot Binder on Mount Rushmore. We have to carve in a little place for her, too. Thank you so much. A kidnapping caught on camera. Wait until you see this.
Man, let me pause it right there. No commercials. But hey, if you enjoyed the video so far, remember to give it a thumbs up. And it's nice to see real life DEI hire, first one ever. And it's all public. We all get to see how bad it is and how we just got to go back to just hiring the best. All right? Not just hiring the people who went to school. She looks like she just showed up. And just because she showed up, she should get the job. She was there every day. She wasn't absent. You know, just check the box that she's in attendance. Did she learn anything? Doesn't look like. She looked like she just learned the minimum to pass the class. I think we all took classes that we didn't really care about it. We just want the credit so we can move on in life. So she looked like she did just that, enough to get a job.
Watch.
What the fuck? Oh my God!
Oh, wow.
Nah, he's wildin'.
Wow.
Luckily, the parents didn't freeze. That man dropped the boy, got chased into an intersection, and now he's in custody. And the kid's safe at home.
Wow.
I mean, You hear about kidnapping all the time. You
Yeah.
never see it happen
No.
in real time.
No, and in front of the parents. The mother and
Yes.
father both actually ran down the guy, and then within 4 minutes, the cops were there. But they actually had to tackle this guy and hold him down until the cops showed up. Fortunately, the cops were there within 4 minutes. But here's the example of why New York City is so screwed up, because there are criminals that are brazen enough to actually attempt to kidnap a child in front of clearly a very busy street with
Yo, that was New York City? Yo, New York. Oh, it says it right there. Brooklyn, New York. I'm bugging out. But yo, that's crazy.
spectators and witnesses in front of the parents.
What was he
Because
wearing? A
it's a
fez? Is
lawless
that what
area.
you call that hat?
I don't know. I would call it dreads. I think those were dreads.
I think that was a fez.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That was not dreads.
I didn't know you were so hip.
Well, I'm just cultured.
Yeah.
Next up,
Man
Philly.
on the streets.
A cookout turns into a shootout. Warning, this video is a little graphic.
Yo, Philadelphia is no joke. Like, I moved to Pennsylvania, but not Philadelphia. Look at this. This looks insane. Those guys are not trained marksmen. They're just shooting the trigger just to pull the trigger. Oh, man.
3 people died, 9 others hurt. I mean, like a regular old barbecue.
Yeah. 12 people were shot, and the youngest victim, 15 years old, injured. A 19-year-old is in critical condition. This is also happening on a residential neighborhood where there are kids and there are families, and they don't care. They don't care.
He
And I
looks like he's
guarantee you-
closing his eyes
Yeah,
and aiming the
just
gun nowhere.
Anywhere. So anybody could be walking down that street, but this is because I guarantee you these guys have rap sheets.
Oh, all
I
of them.
guarantee you this isn't the first time they've shot a gun at somebody, and I guarantee this isn't the first time that they've been in
And
trouble.
I guarantee Larry Krasner, they call him Uncle Larry, will probably let him off if they do.
Oh,
get
of
pinched.
course.
And finally, we're about to go down under. An arsonist tried to set a salon on fire with some gas, but he slipped and then he lit himself on fire.
Stupid.
He ran away with his pants literally on fire. He's still on the loose, but if you see a guy with 3rd-degree burns, call the cops.
On his crotch. Yeah.
If you see a guy with a roasted crotch.
You got to be a little bit more specific, Jesse. I like details and facts.
Okay.
First of all,
burnt crotch, call the cops.
Yeah, exactly. If you watch the video, I mean, he was spraying gasoline all over the place, whatever propellant that he was using, and he slipped and fell in it. So his body was absolutely covered, and he didn't think, oh, maybe I shouldn't light a match.
Oh, not the smartest arsonist.
No.
Most of them aren't, though.
No.
One more, Julie. You got to keep your shoes on at the airport now. It's the law.
TSA will no longer require travelers to remove their shoes when they go through our security checkpoints. The golden age of America is here.
Thank God. Thank God. First of all, I don't wear socks. Like right now, flip-flops, no shoes. No
Julie,
socks.
put your feet up, Julie.
Yep,
Let everybody
that's right.
see the flip-flops.
Flip-flops.
Well, not that far up, Julie.
Dude, I'm not doing anything inappropriate. It's just right there. We talked about my flexibility. But anyway, that's it for another show. I mean, we already did that, actually. But no, I always go through security, and I never wear, socks.
Right.
So I'm constantly having to walk through security barefoot. And I'm
I
like,
know. It's the worst.
darn it, I forgot to pack
I
socks.
one time had to take my shoes off, and I took them off, and I had a hole in my sock.
Oh, you
And some
did?
guy looks at me and goes, "Hey, Watters," and then he looks down and he goes,
Every day. That's an everyday scenario.
"Not paying you enough at Fox."
That's amazing.
All right, Julie.
That's better than no socks.
Good to see you.
All right.
A major medical update on my tennis elbow. Thank you for your help.
All right, I want to post it right there. But so much news. Oh, what's this? What is she talking about? No, I'm going to post it right there. So much news that was Jesse Watters Primetime. Giving you the latest today, July 8th. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Because politics, man, is the greatest show on earth. Especially having Donald Trump in office. It is what it is. All right, he dropped the ball with the Epstein files. Hopefully, he doesn't drop the ball with the FBI director or the ex-FBI director and the ex-CIA director. Those two definitely should be punished. Let's see what the law can bring. Or if they're strong enough to not allow the law to bring anything. Let's see what their power lies. But you know what? My name is Noel. Here at Verbal on Life, Fisticuffs. Bringing you the news. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. and see you in the next video. Peace.